Welcome everyone. My name is Ross Garcia, and I've been studying the laws of attraction for 10 years. I've been working with Bob Proctor since 2016. And I joined IM Academy 4 or 5 months ago. And today we're talking about controlling the polarities. And this chapter is called Heads or Tails. Now, you guys probably never met me in person, right? And that's okay because we could see each other through here. So the laws of attraction is a secondary law. The first law is the transmutation of energy. Energy just is. Science and theology, they disagree on a lot of things, but they come to an unanimous decision on one thing, that nothing's created, nothing's destroyed. So everything you want is already here. Now, for someone that doesn't understand this information, it's either too difficult or too easy. When I started studying this, I was like, okay, well, how do I get rich? How do I make millions of dollars? Now, some people are not looking for money. Some people are looking for a more fulfilled life, a higher purpose. And that's great because you can literally have anything you want, but you have to focus in on what is it that you want. And that's called a will, a concentration factor. So like for me, understanding this material, it took me a while to get it. Excuse me, just had a protein shake. It took me a while to get it. And these sessions are for you to kind of reflect on your life and be like, okay, well, I was doing it wrong, or no wonder, what this guy is saying, I'm connecting to what he's saying because I went through the same type of scenarios, fighting with myself, trying to get to the next level. And you should never fight. You should never, try to get upset at yourself. The laws are precise. When John Kennedy asked Werner von Braun back in the 60s, he's like, look, we got to put someone on the moon. They were competing with Russia and they wanted to put someone on the moon. He asked the German scientist, Werner von Braun. Werner von Braun stated to him, he said, you can send a man to the moon. You could time the landing by a precision of a fraction of a second. So the laws are precise. That's why I say you never get two winners in the same year. If you stick to the thing long enough, eventually you will get to the finish line. Eventually you'll have that breakthrough moment, and then you'll look back and you'll say, okay, now I understand, So going back to, this chapter 2 on controlling the polarities, the reason that I started this book was because I was in California and I just felt this energy. And I was like questioning it. I was like, what is it? What is this energy? I'm like, I could actually feel it coming to me and me releasing this energy. And I was like, Napoleon Hill talks about you're a receiving station and you're also a broadcasting station. So you cannot just receive information and hold on to it, right? And the same thing with money. You can't just receive money and hold on to it. Money is like a river. You have to spend it. You have to, put it in other people's hands. And that's what's called fractional reserve banking, where the money actually has power because it's moving from one hand to another hand. So for me, controlling the polarities was like a good title for a book, because not a lot of people talked about the 7 principles, and you know, it's one of the seven principles, the law of cause and effect, the law of polarity. It's like for every action there's a reaction, right? um so there's opposites, and God didn't make just man, he made man and woman, right? So you know, there's women and then there's men. You know, there's up and there's down, there's left, there's right. So I came up with the title of controlling the polarities, to control the flow, to control the energy that is coming to you and you're releasing. Now, to an average person that doesn't understand this material or this topic of the polarities, they're going to use their logical side and say, like, you know, this guy's talking out of his ass, right? This guy's saying stuff that doesn't, that I'm not connecting with. Or this person is talking about something that I can't see. Uh, what is a polarity? And if it's like a magnet, right? Now, the polarity is not just positive and not just negative, okay? In its core, it has no positive or negative. It just is. Now, people are sitting here thinking like, well, all I have to do is think positive, and that's great. But you're going to have negative thoughts. You're going to have doubt. And that doubt is going to turn into fear. And that fear is going to turn into anxiety. And then that anxiety is going to turn into depression. And then ultimately um, decay and death, ultimately, which nobody wants that. But, you know, anger is depression turned inwards, because you can't release it. So, you know, it's about releasing the energy and releasing it in a positive way, regardless how negative that energy was, or how negative of a picture that you made with that energy. Now, um, I wrote my first book. It was called The Profit Express. And the reason that I wrote that book was because I remember looking at a picture of a train, and there were successful people on the train. Now, an express is like an express, you know, like where it takes you somewhere, right? There's actually a movie called The Polar Express, but my book. It's a book, not a movie. It's called The Profit Express, Master Key to Riches. Now, in that book, I talked about the 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 strategy that one would use to get to the, you know, to your goal, to over the mountain where this train was going, right? Because I literally seen a picture of this train going over a mountain, and in the train there was people that were going towards the road of success. So actually success was written on top of the mountain, and I wish I had a copy of it. I couldn't find it anywhere, but it was in a boot camp facility that I was in. And inside of the janitor, there was like a desk where this guy had all his stuff. He was one of the teachers, and he was actually teaching us anger management. There's a lot of people that have like anger problems, but I was looking at his desk, and he looked like a smart guy. He said he had like investments and stuff like that, but you know, he worked for the city of Chicago, and he had, like I said, he had a picture of an express, a train going towards the mountain of success. But there was also a river of fear, procrastination. There was another one, doubt, anxiety. And then you had people like at bars drinking. I guess that is like where people, when people have millions of dollars, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to go out there and start splurging, right? So you have like nightclubs and like, I forgot what it's called, but basically people out there getting drunk, you know, hanging out, just enjoying life, right? Which, hey, that is great. You know, you do what you want to do, right? If you're making millions of dollars and if you want to just hang out at the bar for the rest of your life, great, right? I mean, what was the purpose, you know? But great. And that's one of the things where, for me, it's like, you can have a glass of wine or two, but you know, don't get carried away, right? Um, and no one's perfect, and there's nothing bad, but don't make it a habit, because we have like good habits and then we have like bad habits, you know. So try not to get carried away when you're having fun. That's what I'm trying to say. But to talk about the Profit Express was kind of like a recipe for success. You know, the first thing you do, the second thing you do, the third thing you do, then you get to like, okay, I understand this material. Um, so this book, the controlling the polarities, is more of like the inside of the car, like the inside of the way that it works. Like you already understand how, what it could do for your life. Now let's talk about what it is, right? Now when we're talking about what it is, you know, the first chapter was contrast and magnetization, because you're like a magnet, right? And then the second chapter is like heads or tails. That's what we're covering today, like heads or tails. Now, heads or tails is what you do, like a coin toss, when you know, when people are making a bet. Like, okay, you know, I heads or tails, right? And if you get the head, right, you're like, okay, I won, right? I'm going first. And if you get tails, you lost, right? Now, Napoleon Hill talked about that there's an equal and positive benefit in any negative situation. Now, that's called a perception. So you have that higher faculty, it's called your perception. When you look at a situation in a different way, put yourself in someone else's shoes, and then you put yourself in that person's shoes, and then you're like, okay, you know, I see things different. I see things in a better way, because when you are working with this material, you have to understand that it's the way you see things that ultimately attract what you want and who you are, right? So when you see things as it's impossible, then guess what? It's impossible. But if you see things that are not at your means, there's no way that you're gonna obtain this thing, right? Like, let's just say a $5 million house, and you're sitting there in your car and you're driving around looking at these houses from the outside, but you're too scared to call the realtor because you're like, well, I'm not making, you know, $20 million. There's no way that I could buy that house. And that, there you go, there is no way you could buy the house. So people get scared because they see the movie The Secret, The Law of Attraction, but the movie that Rhonda Byrne didn't explain to you what the secret, how it works. And I wanted to focus more on the inner works of the material, because like I said, I was literally sitting in California and I just felt this energy, and I was like, okay, like I'm releasing and I'm receiving. And Bob Proctor, he sat there and he literally talked about that there's an energy coming inside of you and through you, and then you're releasing this energy, like you're letting it go. And through this system of operation, um, you have to believe that you will acquire it. Um, and it takes time because, like I said, you're going to be tested for going for it, and it might not present itself, the opportunities, you know. And for me, like, the reason I know that this is spot on was because I had wrote in a book that I was going to make 1.75 million. And at that time, I didn't have a company. I was telling friends, hey, you know, would you want to invest in this company? everyone said no to me. And then I ended up opening up the business by myself. And I was thinking that all I needed was to do was to phone friends and to ask people for help. I had it wrong. And I was still studying this material. So going about things in your way might be good because you're understanding this material, but don't question how you're going to get to the goal. And, you know, too many people are trying to figure out the realistic side of this. They're trying to figure out, what was it yesterday? I think yesterday I got a phone call from a friend, and he was trying to figure out the realistic side to it, the logical side. Now, I want you guys to put your logic away. Controlling the polarities is not logic. This is stuff that a scientist would want to look into, not a regular person. And even a scientist would say, okay, well, you're explaining science in a way where an eighth grader can understand or a high school guy can understand. But there is no way that that person is going to attract a couple million. So even a scientist could fail because he's being too logical, and it's mathematics, it's precise. Like, this is no joke. John Kennedy asked Werner von Braun, he's like, we need to put someone on the moon. And he did it. It was no doubt about it. We didn't have, like they said, like the computer inside of the ship, it was like our cell phone. Like, that's how smart it was. Now, can you imagine how many cell phones there is out there? Like, the technology has literally ramped up. So, things are changing, right? And as things change, you have to adapt to the change. But put the logic away, because some of the stuff that us as human beings, what we have achieved, is illogical. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, how do you get from one city to another in a couple hours? Um, so we are too dumbed down. Excuse my language. We're too dumbed down because we've been trained through society to use the left part of our brain, and we've been trained in society to go out there and work, to go get a job. And I was trained the same way. So my first job, I was making like 75, 65,000 selling cell phones. No internet on the phones. I'm 37. I was like 18 at that time. Then I got another job in the mortgage industry, and I stuck to that for like 7 years, like all through my 20s, from like 21 to 27. And then finally, I went to get a job at a bank. Now, when I got that job at the bank, they said, you cannot be a regional vice president, not unless you have a bachelor's degree. So what did I do? I went to school to go get that degree, because what we're looking at is we're looking at situations with our lower faculties, with our eyes, and we're letting it control our thoughts. And then we take action based upon what we see with our lower faculty. The action should not be taken by what we see. The action should be taken by what we fantasize. And you create a plan, then you take action. Now, there's a season. That's what I said yesterday. And sometimes it might not show up, where it's like, okay, well, it's not here, but you have to keep going in your goal. And like I always say, it's as easy as having a pen, because if you want success, if you want to achieve the thing that you want, you're going to need a pen, because the pen, it molds and makes. It's the creation process. It's the first step. So it's like heads or tails. failure or success, right? And perception makes it so. It's your perception of whether you will get the thing that you want. Now, in 1934, there was a doctor named Thurman Fleets, and he was a doctor like in the healing arts, like no drugs or anything like that, just like healing, like teas and stuff like that or whatever. And I think he was actually in World War I or something like that. But this doctor, Thurman Fleets, he wanted to know what the mind looks like, because up to that point, people were treating symptoms. They were treating the cause, and they weren't treating the effect. They weren't treating the mind. Now he's like, we're treating the secondary cause. We need to treat the first cause, and the first cause is in the mind. It's not like the body or the situation. It's in your mind. So they found out that some of these people were able to get healed through repetition of a signal. So in other words, it's like we get a signal from the internet or from the TV or from the radio or from family and friends, because these are all signals, right? And those signals are being impressed. They're being thought about in our mind, and then they're being impressed to the subconscious. And then our belief system makes it so, and then it makes it so that we tell someone else. It's kind of like that lady in the neighborhood. If you come from a small town, something happens, that lady ends up telling this person, and then that person told that person, and then pretty soon the whole town knows what happened. Same thing, you know, we're receiving a signal, and then we're impressing it to the subconscious, and then we feel good or we feel bad, right? Heads or tails. And then we turn around and then we tell someone else, oh, you got to wear the mask, coronavirus, you know, it's real. And then you put it on and you make sure everyone has. And then if someone gets close to you and they don't have a mask, you're sitting there at the store arguing with them. Why? Because you got a signal from the TV, and the TV impressed a negative idea to you and you accepted it. And the same way you could accept a negative idea, you could accept a positive idea. Now, it's up to you whether you choose to accept it. And sometimes you might not be even able to generate a positive idea yourself. You might have to go by somebody else's positive ideas. You know, like me, I'm sitting there looking at Bob Proctor when we're in training as a consultant for Bob Proctor's office. And I'm like, tell me to jump and I'll jump. Like, yes, master. Yes, anything you say, you know, taking notes from this guy, you know, taking notes on Thurman Fleets, taking notes on Bill Gove, taking notes on, you know, all kinds of stuff that I learned, taking notes from him, because he's been in the personal growth and development field for like 60 years. So what comes with the personal growth and development field is the law of attraction, is you become what you think about. And there was a professor, William James, in 1900 in Harvard. He was pretty much known as the father of psychology. And he said that people have about 60,000 thoughts a day. And if you analyze the thoughts that you're thinking about, most of them don't have anything to do with your major definite purpose. And you can only hold on to a thought for less than 60 seconds at the most. Now, a thought has been known to permeate all time and all space, because everything there ever is, ever was, and ever will be is 100% evenly present in all places at all times. So anything you can think of, and I'm sitting there looking at Bob Proctor and I'm saying, anything? And he's like, anything, you know, because there's a frequency happening right now. People are making millions of dollars. People are getting rich. How? The how you put in the how. Like, how? Because of the coronavirus, because people started investing into different companies, and that's how. But we're dealing with unlimited type of scenarios. There is no limit. we're dealing with infinite, you know. So the dream world, from what these doctors and professors, the dream world is just as real as the real world, the physical world. So when you go to sleep, everything that you're dreaming about and thinking about is real. And it's just as real as your physical existence. Excuse me. So the reason I pause is because if you guys are taking notes, you know, it would be a good time to take those type of notes, because when I understood that we're dealing with unlimited, with thoughts become things, then I started analyzing all my thoughts. And then I started realizing what the perception faculty was all about. And then I started to realize that all I had to do was flip the switch. Heads or tails, flip the switch. Someone on the call says, I'm heads, I'm the winner. Great, you're a winner. And we're winners, like we're all winners here. Um, Andrew Carnegie, when he met Napoleon Hill in the early 1900s, he seen greatness in a newspaper reporter. Napoleon Hill was broke. And he didn't want to become a lawyer because his brother Vivian was a divorce attorney. His brother Vivian never got married. So he didn't want to become an attorney. His brother was telling him, just go to law school. You're going to be just like me. That's what's called a paradigm. You do what you see. So what did I see? I saw my sister go to DePaul University. What did I do? I went to DePaul University. So I saw my sister working at a bank. She became a manager. What did I go for? Trying to work for a bank and become a manager. How much was a manager's salary? A manager's salary is maybe $75,000 a year, maybe 120 with bonus at the most. And then you're tapped out. So work from the end. Act as if. Play the star in your movie. It's your movie. It's your role. What are you playing? The supporting cast? Like, go for the Marlon Brando, Godfather, Don Corleone, sitting there talking about, you don't even think to consider calling me a friend. You come in here and you ask me to do murder. That's how the beginning chapter was. Remember where the guy, he showed up, he's like, Don Corleone, there's these two guys and, you know, they hurt my daughter and the judge let him go without bail. And then the Godfather's just looking at him with the cat, right? So, you know, you have to be an actor, act as if, right? What would you do if you had a million? I remember going to the casino in Las Vegas, and I took a picture with $1,000,000. That wasn't the first time, by the way, but a pyramid like this, all stacked up with a thick plastic coat over it so you couldn't steal the money. It was bolted on a casino desk, like literally bolted on, all stacked up, all hundreds stacked up, pyramid like that, like the top hundreds all down, trickling down. And I'm sitting there doing the peace sign, like, yeah, look, I got $1,000,000 right here. But the fact is that I did it. I made $1,000,000. We were signing contracts for 4,500, and I was signing 35 clients a month for 4 years. Every weekend I was dedicated to that business. No one helped me. I did not receive one dime, not one loan from anyone. I started knocking on doors, helping people with their homes. I was trained in the mortgage industry. Everyone told me, go get a job. Your mortgage industry is done. There's no one buying homes. There's a recession. So what did I do? I did what Napoleon did. I flipped the switch, heads or tails. If heads doesn't work, then tails. If tails doesn't work, heads. So what did I do? I flipped the switch. I went on the tails. And what did I do? I opened up the loan modification clinic, a multi-million-dollar company by myself. When you Google it, it says over $1,000,000 earned revenue. That's me. But in the beginning, when I started off, my hands were tired. I used to carry postcards, mailers, going on people's doors in the cold. And everyone told me, like, man, this is crazy. How are you going to do a whole zip code? How are you going to do a whole zip code of you putting door hangers on people's doors with my face, Rosendo Garcia? Are you losing your home? Please call us. We have a program, a home affordable modification program that Obama came up with to help people with their homes. When you realize that it's literally heads or tails, and it's like good or bad, bad or good, doesn't matter. It's your perception that makes it so. It's how you see the outcome. How is the outcome going to be? What are you going to do? How do you see the outcome? When you look at the outcome from a different point of view with your perception, how would Bob Proctor handle this? How would, other people handle this situation? And I did it. And then I wanted to learn this material. I wanted to really learn it. I'm talking about going into the energy. I'm talking about controlling the polarity, positive and negative flows, mathematics if I have to. I was never good in math. But you don't need to be good in math. You don't need to be a scientist to get rich. All you need to do is auto-suggest it. It's like that car. When you think of the car, you keep thinking, Lexus Coupe, gray, drop top. Never really seen too many Lexus Coupe gray drop top. My friend had one. And we're sitting there in California, my friend Johnny, and Johnny could testify to this. Only if Johnny was on the call, but he was kind of like my mentor in my 20s. He showed me everything about the mortgage industry. And when the recession came in 2009, he went to go paint cars for a living. He went to go, he changed his approach. He's like, man, I'm just going to go paint cars. Hey, if that's what he wanted, great. He's happy doing it. Now he's not doing mortgages. He's painting cars. A lot of people got wiped out of the mortgage industry because of 2008, 2009. So, he had a Lexus Coupe, a gray one, a drop top. And I think the handle of the car, of the wheel, was like wood, kind of like the Jaguar one. So I had a Jaguar S-Type. It's kind of has like a wood handle. And we're in West Hollywood, California. He came to visit me, and I'm with my friend Jeff. Jeff was driving his truck, and we're going down Fifth Avenue. And we're going down Fifth Avenue. Fifth Avenue is like a bunch of stores, a bunch of high-end, where all the stars shop, right? Now we're driving down Fifth Avenue and we're talking about his Lexus car. I'm like, hey, Johnny, you remember that Lexus car that you had back in 2003, 2004? That coupe, the gray one? And he's like, yeah, man, I missed that car. So my friend Jeff makes a left-hand turn, and then he makes a right-hand turn, and guess what we see? The Lexus car coupe drop top. Within 5 minutes, guys, within 5 minutes of thinking about that thing, the thing came. And that's why Napoleon Hill says, be careful what you ask for, because it'll be delivered right on schedule. If you want a wife, describe your wife. If you want $1 million, describe what you're going to be doing. How are you going to come about the million? It doesn't have to be precise, but the things come to you. And whenever you auto-suggest repetition, I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. Things start happening where sources of income come to you. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm a Chairman 10 with the I Am organization. And people are like, why do you keep telling yourself this? Like, why are you keep saying this, playing it in your mind and playing it in your mind? Why? Because if I had this residual income, I wouldn't have to worry about my water, cell phone, gas, light, food. I can cover my expenses, and I can still have this other job over here or whatever, rental income coming in from your second property or something like that, right? So the reason that Bob Proctor is big on multiple sources of income is because he has wrote books and he has worked on several projects, seminars that he's still receiving income for. And he's like, sometimes those incomes go away, but you can always create. That's the beautiful part about this. Now, when you create, you're creating from nothing, which is kind of hard to understand. Now, how does that happen? Well, I relate the nothing to the subconscious mind, because the nothing is thinking when you're not thinking. You're only thinking 3% of the time. So William James, like the professor from Harvard, he says that you can only hold on to a thought, like let's say 30 seconds, 60 seconds, right? But you're only thinking like 3% of the time, maybe 1% of the time. It depends how that faculty is, like a muscle. If you built that faculty to generate thoughts, then guess what? You're going to generate thoughts. And those thoughts that you're generating are going to manifest. And those thoughts that you're generating may be already manifested. Like me, oh, I made this company, I did it. I just generated a thought. I had a picture, and I can relate that picture to my physical world, and it matches. It's like 1, 2, 3, right? One, the mind. Now I'm pointing at my skull. This is not the mind. The mind is not the brain. The brain is something physical. The mind is an activity. It's not even inside here. It's like up here. Now the energy is one step higher than that. The energy is one step higher. The energy's all the way up here. It's coming right in. And you're molding and making. That's why James Allen says, mind is the master power that molds and makes. Man is mind. And evermore he takes the tools of thought, shaping what he wills, brings 1,000 joys or 1,000 ills, heads or tails. The law of polarity, controlling the heads and the tail, controlling the positive, the negative, controlling the polarities. Now you understand? You control the polarities. And what you are taking in, molding and making, is already there or will be there. The crazy part about it is nothing's created, nothing's destroyed. Everything's already here. You were already here. There is no past, there is no future. It's just an eternal now. The only past or future that exists, the one that exists in your own mind. And when you like really start rewinding, like, wait, hold on, let me rewind. That's where you're gonna get shocked. It's so scary. You get goosebumps. That's how crazy it is. Like, everything is mind. Everything. And they say that when you die, we obviously that your body's gonna stay, right? But you're taking that mind with you. That mind is an eternal now. It's always been here, no past, no future. It's 100% evenly present in all places at all times, your mind. Like, you've always been here. And I'm sitting there thinking like, no, I'm 37. Like, no, you're 37 in your physical. In your mind, you might be 37,000, 37 quadrillion, because the energy has no past or no future. It's 100% evenly present in all places at all times. And that energy is flowing through you, in you, around you. And you can create beautiful pictures of abundance with that energy, because the energy isn't limited. There is no limit. Like Napoleon Hill says, that the only limit that exists is the one that you place in your own mind. He says, remember, there's no more effort required to aim high in life than to demand prosperity and abundance than there is to accept lack or limitation. Prosperity and abundance, lack or limitation. It's like that mathematic equation. The more you get on the right side, the more it's gonna click, and it's gonna be like, whoa. It's gonna be like, whoa, like, damn, that's crazy to think about, that you have no past. Like, you've always been here. And the future is whatever you want. The future is like what you're entertaining, what is happening, what you're thinking about. If you're looking at the physical world, like, let's just say you're looking at a bill, and let's just say this was a bill, and you're looking at your bill and you're like, oh my God, this is 150 pounds, this is 200 pounds, this is 300 pounds. Let go of what it is. It is what it is, and it's your perception that makes it so. When you look at this and you are still happy and you're like, oh, it's 150 pounds. Okay, well, guess what? Money's coming to me. Well, where is the money? Wherever it is right now. It's in the space between you and me. It's in the space that brought us the internet. It's intelligent. That's what Wallace Waddle says. The space between me and you is intelligent. And you can impress that intelligence with a picture, with your imagination. You have the higher faculties, your imagination, the will, reasoning, intuition, perception. You also have the hunch. A hunch is like something that communicates with you from somewhere else. Like when Thomas Edison created the incandescent light bulb, he used to take cat naps because the hunch would come to him. He wanted a higher something to communicate with him. And he got the thought of housing the energy through the method of combustion. That's why when you drop a bulb, it pops. He was sitting there taking a cat nap after he went through close to 10,000 failures. And then finally the thought came to him, oh, I could house the energy through the method of combustion. Just the same way that they make charcoal, I could make electricity. That's why when you drop a bulb, it pops, because he housed the oxygen. The wire kept popping on him. The wire just kept popping and popping. And he's like, well, what can I do? And he tried different methods. You've never been there. How can you do it? You've never been there. You don't know how it is. So you take cat naps and let a higher awareness communicate with you. It comes through the ether. What is ether? Well, the ether is the communication. It's what's letting me see you and you see me through the ether, through the space. When they were trying to figure out the law of relativity, which is actually another law, Einstein couldn't measure the ether. They were trying. He's like, this is a 0-point gravity. We can't figure this out. There is no way. It's in all places. We can't condense it. And they're like, well, scratching their head. They're still doing it right now at CERN in Switzerland, over there in the freaking Alps. They're smashing atoms, trying to figure it out. We've already figured it out. Nothing's created, nothing's destroyed. Everything you want's already here. Tune into it. Like Napoleon Hill and Bob Proctor say, tune into it. It'll be delivered right on schedule. This information is so powerful. That's why I love talking about it. I love doing the research about it. And it literally changed my life. I don't report to anyone. I'm my own boss. I write my own checks. I travel the world, money, places, And to the average person that's just starting off, it's going to be scary. It's like me telling you, hey, let's go for an airplane ride. Well, where are we going? Cambodia. What the hell? Why are we going over? Just to go. Yeah, but I don't have any money. What am I going to do? Don't worry, let's go. No, I can't. No, I got my family. I got my kids. I can't just go, man. I'm sorry. I can't. And sometimes you have to even lose family and friends. Sometimes you have to just go, which is like crazy to be like, well, is it what you really want? Like, would you rather be on this side or would you rather stay where you're at? I would rather be on this side for the simple fact that I can create, and I'm willing to go through fear to create. I'm willing to, maybe if it's 30 seconds of fear, right? To get what I want, it's okay, because I'm going to be in a lot better place, because I'm going from the most, like I said, the most I've ever made was 75,000. So to go from 75,000 to, let's just say 7.5 million, that'd be great, because maybe I could buy a house and a car. And that's how this stuff works. You have to create a quantum leap, and you can't do that working 9 to 5. You can't do that having 2-3 part-time jobs. Like my friend Nick, he's like, I don't spend time with my daughter. I'm working Amazon on the weekends. Okay, do you want to create another source of income? Yes. Okay, great. Let me know when you're ready. There is no pressure here. I'm not going to be calling you at 2 a.m. to join my business. Doesn't work that way. It's you have to call me. I'm not going to be begging. You call me when you're ready. Let me know. Meanwhile, I'm working on something else. And you have to apply yourself. You don't have to like work nonstop. You don't have to have a bunch of action, and you drain yourself out. I see my sister doing that. And I'm like, look, you have to work with harmony with this stuff. You have to like be thankful, have a spirit of gratitude, work in harmony, and all the good things will come to you. And it's as easy as having a pen and a blank sheet of paper and write down, this is what I want. And on the back, you write down what you're willing to give for what you want. There's never something for nothing. That's what Napoleon Hill says. He says, there's never something for nothing. And a winner never quits, and a quitter never wins. So you have to hold that energy and create beautiful pictures of your mind, even if you have to let go of those pictures, because you can only hold on to those pictures, like William James said, for 60 seconds. So you let them go. Then you grab that same picture and then you analyze it again. And then it goes. And then you take that same picture. Now, how do you impress it to the subconscious mind? That's what Thurman Fleece was talking about. How do you impress it to the subconscious mind? You have to be enthusiastic. You have to feel good. That's why I say, if you don't have a dog, if you don't have someone to love, go get yourself a pet, even if it's a turtle or a fish. But as long as there's someone that you are taking care of, that you feel like, okay, I'm giving back, I'm doing something good. Like my fish, he ended up dying, but I took care of him for like almost 2 years. And I remember going to Mexico, going to Switzerland, going to Milan, and I would tell my mom, hey, go to the house and feed the fish. And then I came back and I changed the water and I did this, I did that, but the fish was still alive. And I took care of him, like I said, for like 2 years. So give back. You know, the more you give, the more you will receive. You might not see the benefit, but there's something good in it. Even in the negative situations, when you're working your online business, don't give up. Don't let people that are telling you, no, it's one of those things, it's a scam, or it's not going to work. Don't let them bring you down. Because guess what? Just like my business, when I was asking for people for help, they'll show up to the party. They're going to show up to the party to celebrate, but they're not going to invest in you. They're not going to invest into your idea because they're not on this side. They haven't even started. They haven't even understood what energy is. They don't even know that they're a spirit. They have an intellect and they're on a journey right now on this planet. But their journey is not your journey. It's like Bob Proctor says. He's like, you know what the saddest thing of the funeral is? I'm like, what? He's like, it's not the death of the body, but all the dreams, the death of all the dreams. Because when you go to a funeral, like my uncle, he died. And I'm sitting there looking at my uncle Francisco, right? And I'm like, man, my uncle's gone. He's not here no more. And his daughters are sitting there crying. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, he always wanted to make that ranch that his dad left. He wanted to make something so nice and beautiful, but he never got the opportunity because he had to work to take care of his family. But I'm going to tell you right now, those are called paradigms. Everything that you see and excuses of what people tell them, because it's because I had to take care of my family. It's because I had to do this. It's not because of that. It's because you don't understand this information. You know, Napoleon Hill says the reason that there's killings and wars is because they are not on the side of knowledge. What is the opposite side of knowledge? Ignorance. He's like, that's the only problem we have is ignorance. And it's not their fault because they didn't know. I didn't know. I was working 9 to 5, busting my ass, trying to figure out. And then someone comes like Napoleon Hill on YouTube and he says, may you take a seat, please. He was already dead. And I'm like, okay. So You know, I went through a really horrible situation. I almost died, I almost killed someone else. So I'm going to listen to Napoleon Hill. So I'm like, okay, what does this guy have to say? He's like, you were born with two envelopes. One side is everything you did want, and the other side is everything you didn't want because you failed to take possession of your own mind. He's like, if you took possession of your mind, you could literally have anything you want and you can have it in abundance. And I'm like, anything I want? So, man, is that movie The Secret real? The one that Rhonda Byrne did, The Law of Attraction? So that stuff is real then. Oh, so maybe this guy might know something about it. Let me start studying him. I didn't even know Bob Proctor knew about this. I didn't know that Bob Proctor was mentored by Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale was mentored by Napoleon Hill, and Napoleon Hill was mentored by Andrew Carnegie. I didn't know this stuff. Every successful person has had a mentor. And that's why I didn't hesitate to pay 25,000, or I think it was like 22,500 to work with Bob Proctor as a consultant. I didn't even hesitate. Here's my card, charge the card, let's get rolling, let's start working together. Went to Toronto, and the rest is history. He lives in Toronto. But what I'm telling you guys is that it's your belief system. You don't want to go to the funeral and with all the dreams. You have untapped potential. These calls are to get the potential, to get the true core, the essence, the energy, the things that you really wanted, the big goals, the millions, the house, the car, the boat, the family, the residual income, the good life. Not like Napoleon Hill says, the creator didn't intend you to beg. You didn't come here to beg. You came here to live and live in abundance and have the money that you need, have residual income, never to look at, oh, we can't afford this much food. It's too much. I go to the store, I buy what I want, when I want. And one of the things that I do is I'm not out there buying crazy suits and, you know, expensive belts and expensive cars, but I don't hesitate on food. You know, I eat good. I eat really good because, you know, that's what you're gonna, those elements are going inside of you, that you're burning fuel, right? You know, you're getting more, but you're gonna burn. It's it's how it goes, you know. So you have to go for it. Doesn't matter if people don't believe in you. You believe in you. I believe in you. I might not have met you, but I believe in you. The same way that Bob Proctor believed in all of us, because that's what he does. He teaches this stuff. Napoleon Hill literally changed my life. And I'm sitting there at my mom's house, broke, no money. And what did I do? I made millions of dollars with knowledge that I had. And there's a law of compensation. It's the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there will be in replacing you. Is there a need for what we do? Yes. Your ability to do it and the difficulty there will be in replacing you. The reason that there is a need for what we do is because there's people that don't have a job. They don't have no type of income. So what do? All right, bust out your contacts, start calling people, work with him and them and her and she could and them, and then they get them. And then all of a sudden you have a team all around the world, and that team is working, they're producing, they're helping people, they're bringing people on these type of calls, and then you get a check, you get paid. It's an educational service. We're learning how to trade forex, cryptocurrencies. So entertain these ideas, you know, believe in yourself and write it down, have a plan. It's called a life script. One of my friends, Peggy McCall, she's a New York Times bestseller, and she's actually helping me right now. But she has what's called a life script. But she has one professionally made where you could just print it out and just start writing. But I'm here to tell you, you don't need to have one professionally made. All you need is to have is a blank sheet of paper, just like when you were in elementary or high school, and the teacher told you on the top right-hand corner, put the date and put the chapter and put the class. And put what on the left side, put one and go all the way down. Put 1, 2, 3, 4. Every test is going to have A, B option. I want you to put all either A, B, C, D, or E, right? And you fill it all in 1 through 100. And you're sitting there taking a test. Number 1, A, number 2, B, number 3, C, number 4, D, number 5, right? And that's what you have to do with a blank sheet of paper, believe it or not, and a pen. I am so happy and grateful now that my name is, let's say my name is George. I live in Spain and I have a business that operates all around the world. I'm making $500,000 a month in my business. I'm so happy and grateful now because I paid off my house. I have 3 cars. I have over $2 million in my savings account. I'm loading up on Ethereum. I have a bunch of Bitcoin, you know, like the digital economy, the new world, right? And you write all this stuff out. And it's just like when Andrew Carnegie told Napoleon Hill, he's like, go in front of a mirror and tell yourself, Napoleon Hill, not only will you surpass Andrew Carnegie in life, but you're going to meet him at the post and beat him at the Grand Slam. Napoleon Hill did that. And he made millions of dollars. It didn't happen right away. He said he almost wanted to quit when he was writing his books. But it wasn't up until he wrote Think and Grow Rich when he actually was international. Like everyone knew him. You know, people in Colombia, people were like translating the book in other languages. Like this guy was famous. A police officer was going to give him a ticket. He's like, you wouldn't give Napoleon Hill a ticket, would you? And he's like, you're Napoleon Hill? He's like, well, golly. He looks at the ID. He's like, or his license. He's like, you are Napoleon Hill, the guy that wrote, you know, your book has changed my life, sir. You know what? Here's the ticket. I'm ripping it right up. Oh my God. Can I have your autograph? Does that make sense? You go from 0 to hero. So go out there and crush it. I don't care if you're at the lowest level or the highest level. It doesn't matter. What matters is how you feel, because it's your feeling that's going to attract. So make sure you feel great. Clap yourself in the back. Get yourself a pet. Play a good song. Believe in yourself. Jump on these calls tomorrow. Keep jumping on these calls. And I want to thank you guys for your time. And tomorrow, we're going to be talking more about controlling the polarities, and we'll be talking about chapter 3. So you guys have a good one, guys. Peace out. Enjoy your day. And we'll talk to everyone tomorrow. Peace out.